I'm Richard Cantu, ABC News.
Welcome to On the Firing Line on the information station, AM 1440 KUHL. Information, education, news, and politics of firearms and ammunition is found here. If you have any questions, call us at 1-888-625-1440. That's 1-888-625-1440.
One of the odder stats of Tuesday's election night. As of Wednesday morning, 287,590 Californians had cast ballots for indicted Senator Leland Yee for Secretary of State. That's good for nearly 10% of the vote. That's also more votes than 5 other secretaries of state candidates who haven't been indicted received. Never mind for a second that the San Francisco Democrat has been indicted on multiple federal money laundering and weapons charges. Yee dropped out of the race in March. Folks were voting for an indicted man who didn't even want their votes.
Wow, brilliant. You are on the firing line with Matt, Joe, Kanani, and Jim. We got the whole bunch here today. Be a part of the show by calling us at 1-888-625-1440, or if you're in the local Santa Maria area, 928-1440. So that's a lot of votes for Mr. The Wuss Yee.
Well, it's like Jim said before the show, how many people marked for D?
Yeah, just blindly, exactly. Maybe we can put a spin on it that 287,000 people want assault rifles and RPGs or something. So they're like, well, I'll vote for him and he'll send me some RPGs.
Maybe that's how many gang members there are in California.
Shrimp Boy, 287,000 strong.
Well, don't forget San Diego, right? I mean, that's where he was going to start implementing this whole outwards reach, supplying weapons.
Yeah.
And, of course, don't forget, I'm sure the Taliban threw in some votes in there.
Oh, of course.
Which, of course, we'll be
there
talking
was
about
definitely
today.
at least 5 more Taliban votes this year that there weren't last year. For
Yes,
sure.
there were.
Nice.
Oh, my gosh.
But, we kind of saw lots of unfavorable numbers on the elections last week. I was kind of bummed out. There were a lot of, I think we had some good chances. We kind of fought it, but unfortunately, we're just going to have to live with the same condition that it's been for a little while longer.
I just don't understand it. We come from a state where there are so many great colleges, where people are supposed to be educated so well. We come from a state where so many people claim that they're enlightened, that they know what's going on,
right?
And they're supposed to be so great from this liberal machine, this democratic liberal machine.
But you answered it right there, though. This enlightenment and this education is coming from the liberal machine. It's not promoting independent thought.
That's exactly what it is, too.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, until somebody sees the writing on the wall, it's too late.
Right.
And there's nothing else we can do. I think it's really a sad thing. And what really gets me is these guys think they're so enlightened. They think that they're so well educated, and that these ideas that they're trying to pass on to us and get us to be involved with and partake in are really not new ideas. They're old ideas. Mankind is full of a circling history that keeps revolving around and around.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like the old saying, you're doomed to repeat it unless you go out and educate yourself correctly and find out what the heck's going on. I mean, you can go back in other countries' histories and see that this stuff has been tried before. Hello, it didn't work then.
Multiple
Why
times.
should it work now?
Yeah.
They're just not learning from their mistakes or from other people's mistakes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Among other things. And I think a little bit of free thought goes a long way, Do a little bit of your own investigation instead of just saying, well, if Leland Yee said it, it has to be good,
Right.
Look at it for yourself, that's all.
Wait, I heard that name on the news. I'm going to vote for that person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's that famous guy.
Well, he's Democrat. I'm voting for him.
Yeah, so there's 2 right there. 2 reasons.
Yeah.
I recognize the name and he's the same side that we're on.
Right.
So he's got to get the vote.
Oh, my God. Ugh. Oh. And then we've got a president sitting in office that follows the same motto, it's...
Yeah, he openly gives aid to the enemy.
And that's going to be something that we're going to be talking about in this show. First, we're going to go over some of the new laws or bills that are being presented and heading straight up to the governor's office. It's going to take a while before they get there, but that's part of the process. And after we get done discussing that, because it's such a short part of today's show, even though it's not really gun-related, but in a sense, you could make a connection to this being gun-related, We're going to be talking about, what is it, Bergdahl, right?
Bergdahl.
Bo Bergdahl. His release for 5 Talibans and how the United States will now negotiate with terrorists to release one of our guys. Who knows what's next?
Over the past week, it's kind of the scandal has caught steam, I guess. At first it was just, yay, we freed a POW, and that was, they were pushing that story hard. And then slowly all these little things come out.
But I don't think the people were buying it as stuff continued to come out, that they just weren't accepting the fact that this guy was a legit POW. I mean, he looked really healthy.
Yeah.
And that was one of their first things, is that he was in such poor health that we had to go rescue him.
I've seen the video where he's in the truck and just before he gets on the helicopter, and he doesn't look all skinny like you'd see somebody. Remember when we saw you can still go on YouTube and see pictures of the Jewish people that are being released from concentration camps. When I think of somebody who's weak and almost on their last legs and stuff like that, that's what I visualize.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what you guys visualize.
Well, no, it's you definitely somebody who's been in captivity is malnourished.
Yeah, stomach bloated.
He didn't
ribs
fit that
showing.
bill. He just didn't do it.
No, it almost looked like he was friends with them.
He was.
Like he was
friends
just
with
chatting
him.
with them. They were both speaking the same language.
He
kept wiping his eyes.
Right, and the one guy patted him on the shoulder. It looked like in the truck. You know,
good job, Durka. He definitely. They were definitely friends. He was there for 5 years. He was helping them out. He was giving them those little, hints here and there. I mean, what do you think they were talking about, other than goats?
And their affection for them, huh?
Oh my God! It's just the whole thing just angers me so much.
Yeah,
and it should. It really should.
The one thing that I got from this whole thing is that if you want a lie told, you send out Condoleezza. I mean, you send out Rice.
Yeah, send out Rice.
The second she's on camera, we're going, oh my gosh, what's the new lie?
Didn't they learn the first time?
White on rice?
I guess not. But the other thing is that I'm going to throw in a bit, and I waited my turn here, but I'm going to throw in a bit of controversy on that.
Controversy sells.
I think those 5 guys are chipped. I think they chipped them. I think that's what happens there. Once they get a prisoner of war in, I believe the United States chips them. And
puts
they know
a little
exactly.
tracking chip.
More than
like
one.
injects him like a dog.
Yeah, they'll put
they RFID them.
Well, more than that, more than just an ID. It'll actually, they can put stuff in your body right now that it'll tell you blood pressure, everything. I mean,
but
how fast your hair grew.
Okay, I can hear you on that statement, but here's the thing: we negotiated for a release. Okay. Mm-hmm. Forget that. I don't care if you chip them or not. It doesn't make a damn bit of difference. And that's one thing. Even if Bergdahl was a great soldier and did everything great and all this stuff.
But he wasn't.
Even though if he did, we still shouldn't have negotiated with a terrorist.
No, we should have.
Period.
But I was trying to throw something in there that I really believe is true. They they did chip these guys.
And if they were going to do something clandestine like that, they should have done it quietly out the back door to see what was going on. Fine, recapture him. It's kind of like catch and release, and then catch again.
Well, there's
That's not a bad idea.
Well, but they have been doing things like that over there for 12 years now. I mean, I understand that they tried and some missions failed for this guy, when they
lives lost.
Yeah, when they had reason to believe that he was potentially actually kidnapped.
Boy, we got right into the story already, and this is supposed to be later on after we do this.
But the truth is that you're right. They started negotiating for these 5 members in 2010.
Yeah, this happened years ago.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen. Our president has written into law things that allow him to make exceptions depending on what he wants. The whole thing is bogus. Yeah, the king has spoken, and the king's going to do what he wants to do.
I'm going to throw one more thing in there. How about what the father
The king
said?
has aided and abetted our enemy.
The father is not making it any better. He's making it worse.
That was weird to have him say Allah and all this stuff.
Arakim, blah, 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 whatever.
You're like, what in the world are you doing here, pal?
I mean, he was just...
This is not something new. Our president's had all kinds of Muslim people in there that go praise Allah and are guys that are noted for being in camps and going to different places and doing all kinds of stuff. There should be investigations into this stuff. Our news medias, left and right, should be running around doing investigations themselves privately and bringing it to light so that we can see. Yes, I'm going crazy over this. Okay, but
Joe goes crazy.
This is stuff that makes me so mad.
Yeah.
You and a million others.
What? Just somebody do something about it.
Exactly.
It's just a phony scandal. That's what the president said.
Yep.
Another thing they're stirring up in Washington. Well, you're over there in Poland lifting weights.
Good God, what does it matter now? It's kind of like what Clinton said. That's the past. Come on, get over it. It's only been a couple days.
I think actually she said about this particular one is, what good does it do now to find the answers?
Oh my! I don't know. We should just shut down all investigations.
Right.
What good is
What good does it do?
When they concern her.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't do any good because we're not going to release any more that are going to go out and fight and kill us, and we're definitely not going to bring home somebody that might put a bomb in one of our cities or help head oh God, here I go
Definitely
again.
not. Unacceptable.
Oh my God. All right.
So later in the show, we'll be talking more about this.
Yeah, if you want to hear more about this, stay tuned after every break, okay? Because we want to talk about it, and we would love to have your phone calls to let us know what you think about this. Yeah. Doesn't this infuriate you?
It's got to make you guys mad. 1-888-625-1440, 928-1440.
And I know there's plenty of you listening. It's not just Donna and John, okay?
Oh,
I know that for a fact, so...
Myth busted. Yeah.
All right, before we go to break, let me just recap something that's been going on here in California, especially since the elections have happened and our hearts have been broken so. California, this is something I got off the NRA site, so anybody can go to the NRA ILA and look this stuff up. California, time to put pressure on the legislator again. Friday, May 30th, was the last day for bills to pass their legislative chamber of origin. Accordingly, it's time to contact your state legislators, urging them to oppose all anti-gun legislation. Anti-gun legislators still haven't figured out that stripping law-abiding citizens of their gun rights do nothing to stop criminal activity. The anti-gun bills below are scheduled to be heard Tuesday, June 10th. So everybody, get out there and talk to your people out there that represent you. It's important that even if they don't listen to you, flood their phones. Make it so irritating that they have to do something.
We do
or at least acknowledge.
We have 2 or 3 days, before they actually have to go and make these decisions. So just like Joe said, get in their head. Just get be that little voice in the back of their head when they're sitting there at that table with those people.
Yep.
And get in on all the numbers. I mean, the more people who call, the more little voices they're going to hear.
And there's ways to do it. It's really easy to go on most of these sites, have a pre-typed out thing. You click that you support it, and it sends it off. Right. So even if you don't want to write your own thing, at least let them know.
Right.
And if you want, you can even donate to most of these guys too.
To do the right thing.
Yep. Yeah.
Hello.
Hopefully.
I'll give you money, but do the right thing with it.
Yeah. Or else I'll send Yuri.
All right. We have Senate Bill 53. SB 53 would require that purchasers of ammunition to register with the State Department of Justice prior to purchasing any ammunition. This registration would require the submission of fingerprints, a background check, and fees to the Department of Justice. Can you imagine that?
And, again, this is probably something that a lot of people are going to say, well, that's not a big deal. You just go buy 1 box of ammo. You don't need a whole lot. They don't think about going out 2, 3, 4 times a month or a week and shooting a box of ammo each time. This is obviously not going to make anybody's life any easier, but they'll probably make some more money, line their pockets.
And realistically, why should we have to do that?
We shouldn't.
It's a hindrance. It is a complete hindrance,
just one
which
more
is a
step
violation
that
of the
prevents
Second
us from being able to exercise our amendment right.
And remember, De Leon tried to pass things like this.
Almost exactly.
Ghost gun guy?
Yeah.
And
remember what happened when it passed? Found unconstitutional. Again, that guy should have been fired because he tried to pass unconstitutional laws when he took an oath to uphold the Constitution.
Amen.
Ah, my goodness. All right.
Goodness.
We have Assembly Bill 1964, and it would remove existing exemptions for all single-shot pistols, other than those with break top or bolt action, from California's roster of not safe handguns. In other words, the safe handgun list that we have, if you want a gun that's not on that list, there's a, do I dare say loophole, because I don't really like that word when it comes to laws.
You don't need to say that because you can actually do it. So,
well, okay. Well, what it allows you to do is purchase a gun that's not on that list, so long as it is a single shot, which means it doesn't have a magazine that can accept rounds. It's basically a sled to where you can put 1 round in the gun at a time. You can purchase this gun as long as it has a 7-inch barrel in it, take it home, remodify it back to its original factory specs, and you now have the same gun. Yeah. It is okay when you own a gun to upgrade it and do whatever you want with it, so long as you're within California law. So here's the thing. This law would get rid of that. And for all you AR lovers out there who like AR pistols, this law will get rid of those as well.
Yep.
So it's a travesty that we see these things happening because there are so many guns that are safe to have that we're going to be
they're all safe to have until you start doing stupid crap with them. I mean, it's only dangerous if you're not doing stupid stuff and you're on the mean side of the thing. I mean.
Very true.
Yeah, this one it's ridiculous. But yeah, that's exactly right. Like with the AR pistols, I mean, that's going to be one of the big. That's probably what this is mainly for.
Well, let's not give them any ideas, but you're right. God, we could really do a lot of damage on the other side of the stick here. Let's not give them any real good ideas. There's also Senate Bill 199, which would ban the sale, transfer of used and antique BB devices and imitation firearms that are not colored. So imagine you've got your, Daisy?
My Red Ryder?
Yeah, your Red Ryder. You cannot sell it or transfer it unless
I would never
you're
sell
not
my
going to be
Red
able
Ryder.
to. Yeah,
it's a classic.
That one is like, it's not even talking about actual firearms.
But transfer, dude. That means you can't even transfer it to your kids.
I was here, this is the Red Ryder I had growing up. It's a BB gun, but no.
And it's not even a very powerful one.
No.
It'll shoot your eye out.
Ralphie.
All right, so, there's a lot of stuff going on here that's just crazy. There's also Senate Bill 808, which would impose heavy restrictions and costly fees on the ability to make or even assemble a personal firearm. So those of you out there that like your 80%ers, and the way it's worded right here, unless this is just for the 80%ers, the way I'm reading it actually sounds like, hey, you buy a strip lower, you're building your own weapon. You buy a frame, you're building your own weapon.
That's exactly how I took it.
That's a really good point. Yeah, and that's, again, another backdoor way to get rid of the evil black rifle.
I'm glad that, I know a few people that have a stockpile of them. Frames, that is. Frames legally purchased right now. Keep in mind, the things like this go through. This is just the opening to the door that leads to, I don't know, the scales where it starts tipping them until more and more of our rights. Because after this, they can design another law around this and another law around that. Till what?
Until it's illegal to attach two parts together. Who knows?
Well, they make it kind of wide so that it encompasses like 90% of the people who are doing this, and then they'll continue to come in and close the gap and close the gap and close the gap until there's nothing left.
Yeah. Remember the days when we used to be able to put springs in those rifles? The good old days.
Right. Remember the days I could drop in a Timney trigger? Wow. I wish I had
Trigs. I know. That's awesome.
All right. And if it's not bad, it's going to get worse. Assembly Bill 1014 would allow any person to seek a gun violence restraining order against another person. A court would be permitted to issue the order based only on a person's affidavit that the named person poses a significant risk of personal injury to himself or herself or others by possessing a firearm. If the court is satisfied that the affidavit is correct, then the court can issue an order prohibiting the named person from possessing firearms. This extremely dangerous bill would essentially allow any person to create a firearms prohibition on any other person.
Yeah. This is going to be a neighbor that wants to settle a feud type thing. This could literally be anything that stupid. Where, they kind of already have stuff like this in place. If somebody's acting like a nut and they got a gun, you can call and they'll come do a welfare check. Mm-hmm. But to have them do this to the point where you make a call and if they say, oh, well, I think it's legitimate, go take his guns and let's bring him in and question him and make sure his brain's right. That's pushing it. And I know that it's a slippery slope right now between, the mental health thing, and that's probably on the tail end of how this is working.
This directs right back to what we talked about last week.
Yes.
Yeah, the Isla Vista.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's a mental situation. If you've got somebody that's a threat to themselves and other people, you take them to a mental institution. Let's create programs where money can be provided for people to have places to go instead of jails where they're going to get released, instead of prisons where they're going to get released.
Right.
Let's send these people somewhere where they can actually get some help. And in doing so, they will be in a program to where everybody will know this person can't have guns. And then, therefore, that person will get some help and they will have to relinquish their guns and so forth.
But you're talking about treating the actual problem, not treating what they perceive to be a bigger issue.
Well, right, because the way they perceive it is it could
any
be,
person.
all encompassing.
Right.
What kind of country is it that you do not even get to answer for your stuff? It just happens before. What is it in our Constitution that says you have the right to a trial and to face your accusers?
Due process.
Due process. So on that note, I want you to think about that while we take this quick break. And when we come back, we're going to leave these California laws behind, and we're going to really dive into President Obama and his decision to release Bergdahl.
You have to imagine your own tumbleweed there, right?
That was definite tumbleweed. All right. We will be back on the firing line.
You're listening to On the Firing Line on the Information Station.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We will be right back with you on the firing line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on am1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies in stock.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol classes and have trained thousands of local ladies.
The store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years.
Now a great word from Santa Maria Motorcycles, formerly Santa Maria Harley-Davidson, located at 2022 Prusker Lane. They are dealers for Honda, Kawasaki, and Harley-Davidson. Grab your family and go see the museum, filled with exciting older bikes that you won't see anywhere else on the Central Coast. As well, they are the #1 motorcycle dealer on the Central Coast with the largest inventory around. Go in and see Martin Buchanan, or you can give him a call at 805-928-3668. You can also go visit them every first Thursday of the month for Bike Night. Starts at 6 p.m. Have a great time with your family at Santa Maria Motorcycles.
We're happy to have a special guest here today at the Plumbing Talk Studios, Jeremy Griffin, owner of Griffin Plumbing in Orcutt. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Jeremy, the reason your plumbing company is called Griffin Plumbing is that your last name is, in fact, Griffin.
Yeah, that's right.
Unbelievable. Griffin, just like the legendary creature with the body of a lion and the wings of an eagle.
Yeah.
What a brilliant move, Jeremy.
I'm a genius.
To name your plumbing company after this majestic creature. A creature known not only to have divine power, but also to be a protector from all things evil.
Well, it is my last name.
Audience, listen carefully. If your plumbing devices are threatened in any way, I implore you to seek the power and protection of the Griffin.
We're always here to help. Just give us a call.
Call the Griffin.
Find us at callgriffinplumbing.com or call 934-1949.
You are on the firing line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. Be a part of today's show by calling in at 1-888-625-1440, or if you're in the local Santa Maria area, please give us a call at 928-1440. All right, you are back on the firing line with Matt, Joe, Kanani, and Jim. So today we are talking about the disgraces of our government. And
boy, it goes straight to the top.
Well, yeah, I cut right through it, man. Bo Bergdahl. I know we already kind of touched it at the beginning because I think it's kind of the hot button issue for us at the moment. But we're going to get a little bit more into it here. So as we talk about it, don't be scared. Give us a call, 1-888-625-1440 or 928-1440.
Does this not infuriate you? Does this not put you in the mood of, hey, I've got to do something to bring my country back into order?
Right.
What is it going to take?
No, very true. Good question. And I can only imagine how many people are feeling just like that. Especially, especially a time like this where D-Day was yesterday, and you kind of get to see all the celebration.
Look at the sacrifice.
Exactly. That's exactly.
It's a real slap in the face to those people.
Oh, it sure is
terrible.
It's just probably worse than that. It's probably more like a kick in the pants.
Can you imagine negotiating with the SSS? Or the SS, I'm sorry, SSSSS.
The Super Sport?
With the German SS?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we'll give you back Himmler.
Oh, my, no, you can't have him.
No, that was World War II was complete surrender. No negotiation.
That's
you knew that.
And that's why it was the greatest generation. No surrender.
That's what wars were supposed to be about.
They did give back prisoners of war.
Because
if you're a prisoner of war, But the war criminals, obviously, we know what happened to them at Nuremberg.
Nuremberg had a lot to be said. Let all the people out there in high positions of governments, all the soldiers out there that follow orders that should not be followed,
right,
and police officers that follow orders that should not be followed. Remember Nuremberg.
Yeah, instead of Attica, Nuremberg. And you just started yelling it, Nuremberg.
Nuremberg.
Exactly.
Boy, that could go a lot of different ways.
How long do you think it'll take before we get to the bottom of all of this and actually figure out what he did and what he didn't do?
I don't know. Can you say Fast and Furious? How long will it take?
Right.
We're still waiting, right?
Oh, my God.
I mean, when we like to think that, hey, they've already been looking at it for 5 years, they should be somewhere near the end of this. Yeah. Well, probably not. I mean, this is something that we are going to be reading about for a long time.
And we'll probably continue to read about it as with all of the other scandals that have been going on.
Yeah, it fits perfectly.
Yeah. I mean, it's right in line with the VA scandals in Benghazi. It's just one more thing.
Wasn't it you that said outside the parking lot when we were talking about this that, or maybe it was, I forget.
I said a lot.
Okay.
We always
do. We all do. But Bush would have been crucified for all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
For every scandal that came up, it would have been all Bush. Bush this, Bush that, Bush this.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it's Bush's fault that we had Hurricane Katrina and Sandy and everything else.
Oh, yeah,
Bush is still getting blamed for it. And it's his 8 years that he was actually in office, plus this 6. So 14 years. We're still blaming Bush for things.
But Obama? Oh,
never.
No, it's never his fault.
Because a fool can't get fooled again.
Well, there you have it. Straight from the horse's mouth.
Truth
darts.
Coming in hot.
But I think you had something going on with the first section we were starting to talk about this, is that the liberal Democrat media is on his side. They're continuing to push his story and push his excuses. Mm-hmm. And when they get caught or called on it, they do things like Susan Rice did out in Normandy when they were out there celebrating, D-Day and respecting those veterans who did serve with honor and distinction.
Yeah.
As she continues to backpedal and then says that his choice to serve was honorable.
Oh my God!
When he got drafted in, it was a choice. Now,
right.
Or?
Well, he wasn't drafted. He chose
to do it. And I'll tell you something else. Based on what a good friend of ours, John, said. Okay, Rice says that this guy signed up and served honorably in doing so. What about Benedict Arnold? Didn't he do the same thing? Until what?
Until that faithful memento.
This guy walked away like 3 times before. I mean, he's like...
What about the 40 shooters?
Right.
They served. They signed up honorably and served.
Yeah.
The Navy Yard shooter?
Yes.
Exactly.
You have Chelsea Manning now. I mean, these people walked away, they deserted, they defected, and then they caused harm on American soil again. And now they're being either, some of them shot themselves or were shot down, or they're serving time for their crimes.
This
guy, I mean, I don't think we even know how deep this goes. I don't know if we ever will.
Well, they're one of the 287,000, I think. They believe the people who voted for you. I'm serious about this. Think about what's going on here. People at first really thought it was a great deal. Did you see the poll? 51% said, yeah, we should do this.
Well, that's at first because it was played that they were bringing back a POW, and that was the end of it.
That shows you how warped.
So of course we want them to bring back POWs.
Yeah, but release 5 top Taliban?
Well, that's something people probably don't think. Well, how bad could it be?
I heard a guy say the Susan Rice went only on 2 programs, last Sunday. Both of them were ex-speakers for Democratic presidents, so...
Okay, 5 top officials from the Taliban. Mohammed Fazal one of the first detainees captured in Afghanistan to be transferred to Guantanamo in January of 2002. Fazal is the Taliban's former deputy minister of defense. He was one of the Taliban's founding members, rising through the ranks to become Taliban chief of army staff when it ruled Afghanistan. Ruled Afghanistan. Why did we attack Afghanistan?
This sounds like a good guy.
Wasn't it the Taliban that helped in attacking our towers?
Yeah.
So let's just send this guy right on back out. I don't care if he's tagged or not.
I mean, on their side, that is someone who served their cause with honor and distinction.
And let's
in a
skip
sick,
this.
twisted kind of way, yeah.
Here's a man who violated human rights. He was accused of presiding over the mass killings of Afghan Shiite Muslims in 2000 and 2001.
I thought we were supposed to be combating against human rights and fighting for that in other countries. And we just released a guy that is constantly committing these violations.
So who's going to be responsible when he goes out and has another mass murder?
Obama.
Let's hope
No,
so.
it's going to be Bush.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I heard a guy say that he actually heard a bomb blow off down there in the 9th, or he heard an explosion in the 9th district there of New Orleans, you know, when it gave way, and believed it and said, we think Bush did that. He was on a national news program saying this.
Oh, my God. And, of course, they gave him credit because it just fit right in with the scheme of picking on Bush. All right, what about Mohammed Nabi?
They wouldn't be there if it wasn't for Bush. That's the truth.
Well, hey.
He did it.
He did it all.
He did it.
Mohammed Nabi, the former chief of Taliban security in Qulat, or Qulat, however you pronounce it, the capital of Afghanistan's northern Zabul province. Nabi was a latecomer to the Taliban, joining only in the late 90s. After taking a few years away, he rejoined in 2000 to work as a radio operator for the Taliban's communication office. He has claimed during U.S. military interrogations to have been working for the CIA in the search for the Taliban chief Mullah Omar and al-Qaeda operatives. Those confessions may earn him difficulties upon his release. Okay, so there's one guy questionable, but this information's out. Do you think that if he really did that, he's going to survive when he gets back there and get the big handshake and hugs
if he
and
really
everything
did
else?
work with the CIA and you know the Mullah Omar guy was a pretty big Al-Qaeda target for a while.
So doesn't that make him a double agent?
Kind of. Well, let's blab that all out.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes him a double agent.
Then there's number 3, Abdul Haq Wasik. Also accused by Human Rights Watch of mass killings and torture during the Taliban's time in power. The Taliban's former deputy minister of intelligence is considered to have been, at one time, one of Mullah Omar's closest confidants, with a direct line to the elusive leader.
So this is a network of guys that's obviously, I mean, this would be kind of the equivalent of them catching some colonels and generals from us.
Absolutely,
because these guys, I mean, these guys are right.
Let
up the
us have
flagpole.
our president back. Let us have our number one 4-star general back.
You can take them.
5-star, whatever.
So even with these 3 people, how is that equivalent that we got back a deserter and we gave them 3 shining stars on their side?
Well,
Makes
I
no
mean, we
sense.
haven't even gotten to number 4 and 5 yet.
Makes no sense.
No,
it makes
it
no sense.
It really doesn't. I mean,
How did I hear? We're watching the 5, and Greg Gutfeld said it's like giving somebody 5 Mercedes in return for a Slinky.
pretty much.
I mean,
that's,
hello.
Yeah.
Knock knock. Anybody home?
I mean, it's definitely probably less about Bergdahl and more about these 5.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I mean, that's it.
Absolutely.
So, what does the government know about Bergdahl that we don't?
I don't know. People who served with them definitely called him a deserter.
Oh
It's. I've got it. I've got a letter here written by one of the guys that served with him, and I'm going to have to read that for us after we get done with these 5 because we've got to hear it.
After the break, right?
Well, let me read the other 3 guys or other 2 guys that we released because you have got to. But you're right. After the break. All right, Mullah Nurullah Nori. Nori was one of the senior Taliban commander in the strategic northern city of Mazar-e Sharif when U.S. forces arrived in late 2001. a former governor of 2 northern provinces. He is considered to be one of the most high-ranking Taliban officials ever to be held in Guantanamo. He is also accused of being involved in the massacre of thousands of Shiite Muslims in 2000 and 2001, when the Taliban attempted to purge Afghanistan of what it deemed a deviant form of Islam. You know, that reminds me of Germany. Doesn't that remind you of Germany?
Yeah, mass killings due to trying to get the population, to purge the population. I mean, that sounds...
What they consider to be deviant of anything.
What did we do at Nuremberg with the people who committed mass murders?
Off with their head.
We hung them, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, there was some hangings. A lot of them spent the rest of their life in prison. I mean, no one had a good time after.
Yeah, some were hung, some were shot. Depends upon the crime.
But they paid for it, though. I mean, that's
they didn't.
Do you think these guys paid for it?
No, well, they not only had to pay for it, but they had to sit there through trial and listen to people who were captive or whatever, their situations for days. Everybody, you killed my father.
Well, just think of these guys in Guantanamo, like, people who are sticking up for them. Well, they're reformed. They've been there for 11 years. They deserve a second chance. Why can't we let them out?
These guys were treated better than some of us out here that are poor.
Yeah, you just said that this guy was involved in killing of thousands of people.
Yeah,
right.
But he's reformed. He'll only kill hundreds next time.
What kind of incentive does this give to the bad guys?
I think it makes them very excited and increases their morale. I mean, if we had people come back to us that were heroes, I mean, that would definitely raise our morale.
Right, just like the first day of Bergdahl when we thought potentially maybe that was a POW.
Right.
People,
and I don't mean
spirits are uplifted.
Yeah, and I don't think that they even have to do anything. They don't even have to act on anything just for them to be present and to be released and to be free.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
Hey, it looks like we may have a caller online. Let's bring him up. Dan, welcome to On the Firing Line.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing today?
Hey, I'm just curious if you ever gave my gift certificate away.
Yes, we did. We gave it away. I'm surprised they haven't contacted you yet.
Well, you guys need to send me a copy of it so I know what details we talked about. But that's neither here nor there. This thing with that Bergdahl thing.
Yeah, quite a
that's sort of an issue. But the one thing that got me is, I was watching a thing on, I don't know if it was 60 Minutes or whatever, some general was going, if you get those guys out of Gitmo, which, so we got some top guys out of there, right?
Right.
Yep.
So now we can kill them. That's what that general said.
Oh, my
gosh. If they're in Gitmo, we got to try them. If you let them go and they've got chips or something on them and we know where they're at.
Oh, they know where they're at.
Yeah. Well, maybe there's a Hellfire missile with his name on it.
Yeah,
we can always think positively.
I mean, I can't, say one thing one way or another about Obama, but that general has the right idea. If we got him in Gitmo, you got to try him. If you let them cut them loose,
right?
You're giving them you're giving him a head start.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's the hunting game.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there you go again. It's the liberal democratic machine that has stopped us from trying these guys in a military court where we can deal with the problem and get rid of them so that we don't have to house them. It is that machine that has stopped us from doing and serving justice where it needed to be served.
Yep.
Because now, what did they want to do? Remember, what was it, 4 years ago, they're all talking about, we need to bring them to New York and try them in our courts and do this and that.
The place of the crime.
This is ridiculous.
The whole other thing gets me. I just got an email, talking about all these nutty gun things they're doing with the ammo and stuff. And one of them was, talking about, cutting off your ammo and stuff. I guess they nailed somebody with, didn't do anything wrong. He had 100,000 rounds of ammo and 100 guns.
Ooh, lucky.
Okay, but if you're in Idaho, he's only mildly prepared.
Well, yeah. Come on, that's only 100 armed citizens.
Oh, man, some of this goes over the top. But, the other thing is just trying to do this thing where they're going to tax our ammo. You can't get ammo. You can't, You know, you have a gun that's, legal, but now it's not legal. It's just,
Right.
it's insane. The only
They don't
people
make
that
it
have
easy.
guns are criminals.
Yeah, they don't make it easy for us, and the average person who, let's just say, who doesn't keep up on the gun laws every 5 minutes that they change, the average person is kind of scared to go out because they don't know if the laws have changed to the point where, am I going to get in trouble going to the range with my rifle in the car?
That's a good point.
So I totally agree with you, Dan. I mean, it's what is going to happen next? Every time something erodes, we just keep seeing it's a vicious cycle, and that's that.
And granted, every time you see one of these horrible things come up, like that horrible thing in Santa Barbara,
Yeah.
they already had the laws.
Oh, yeah, the laws are already there.
All
in
they
place.
had to do is go in there and look in the guy's apartment, and that whole tragedy would have been,
Diverted.
averted.
Yep.
But no.
You know what? You make a very good point, and it's a tragedy that the machine has gotten so out of control. We are limited on time right now, and I don't mean to cut you off, but we do need to take a quick break so we can get our message out for our sponsors. And stay tuned, because we're going to talk more about Bergdahl, and we're going to try to get out a little bit more about this stuff, because there is number 5. That's Karula Karhawa, if that's the best way to pronounce it.
And the other last one is how many votes ye got.
Exactly. Hey, thank you very much for calling, and you have a great day, okay?
Hey, same to you.
All right. Bye.
Well, cool. So, people are, looks like we're all if we're not on the same page, we're reading the same book. Put it that way.
Right. There are some out there that do believe in what we believe in. All right. So we'll be right back with you on the firing line. Make sure you stay tuned so we can get through the rest of the story.
We'll be back to more of On the Firing Line with Joe and Jim after this.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We will be right back with you on the firing line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on am1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies and stuff.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol Classes and have trained thousands of local ladies.
The store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years.
On the air with the Midnight Mystic is one of our regular callers, truck driver Charlie.
Boy, I just seen another one, Midnight Mystic.
Another Griffin, Charlie?
I'm telling you, they're all over the Central Coast now.
How long have you been on the road now, Charlie?
2, 5, 8 weeks, I don't know.
Perhaps you should park the truck and get some sleep, and maybe the Griffins will disappear.
Well, there it is again. I'm going after it.
What does it look like, Charlie?
Holy mackerel. It's got the body of a lion and the head of an eagle.
Is it flying, Charlie?
It's on the side of a white truck.
Is it a Griffin plumbing truck, Charlie?
Could be. I don't know. I'm pulling right up to it.
We seem to have lost contact with Charlie, but I'm sure he'll be okay because Griffins, just like the good folks at Griffin Plumbing, are here to protect and serve. In fact, if your plumbing devices are threatened in any way,
call the Griffin.
Find us at callgriffinplumbing.com or call 934-1949.
You are on the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. Be a part of today's show by calling in at 1-888-625-1440, or if you're in the local Santa Maria area, please give us a call at 928-1440.
That's right, back to the top. You are back on the Firing Line. Matt, Joe, Kanani, and Jim today.
Boomerang.
Boomerang.
Back out and then back on topic.
And back on topic. So, let's see. We are about finishing it out here, and we're going to talk a little bit about this fifth clown who got released out of the Gitmo facilities in trade of the traitor Bergdahl.
Let me see if I can even say his name correctly.
It does not matter.
Kahar Kawa, the former Taliban governor of Herat Province, which borders Iran. Herkwa was also served as a military commander and a minister of the interior. He was close to Mullah Omar, as well as current Afghan President Hamid Karzai, who briefly worked with the Taliban administration in the 1990s, according to the Associated Press. Kahar Kawa's U.S.-based lawyers have argued in court filings that by the time of his capture in 2002, he had already distanced himself from the Taliban.
Yeah, but if you've distanced yourself with the Taliban, you're still a terrorist. I mean, go ahead.
Perhaps what this is all about. Yes, I interrupted you. I've won today's interruption contest.
So far.
2 or 3 of these guys, they wanted back so they could assassinate and kill themselves for going against God's will. And the other guys, they wanted back because they were their great leaders that they needed to honor and do everything else for, have big feasts and dinners for.
Okay. So, other than wanting to party, why else would they want these guys back? Do you think that they're going to use these clowns to rebuild military power?
Heck yes. Don't you?
Yeah. I mean, look at their specialties. Look what they do. These guys don't bake cakes.
No, they don't.
I mean, every one of these guys mentioned, multiple killings, war crimes, mass murder. These are not it's not like, oh, these guys messed up a little bit, but it's okay now.
I've gone on YouTube and watched from their point of view. They have videos of them receiving these guys back into their folds.
Yeah.
And it's not...
Yeah, and they're all talking about snack bars.
It's not great, and they are selling cakes.
And snack bars.
And snack bars.
Yeah.
It was all about a snack bar.
So, it sucks is what it is. The whole thing that we're strong because we do not negotiate with terrorists. Obviously, that's changing, and we also give pretty good deals, apparently.
You can guarantee that these guys are taking that, and they're telling themselves, look, if we go capture more, we can get more of our guys back.
Yeah, for every 5, we can get 25.
We finally won something here. It may not be a battle on the streets. It's a battle of the mind and wits. We won. We can continue to do this. The world will see us in a different light, and we will have won.
Yeah, it's the hearts and minds on a different front. That's what it is.
And then the Walter Cronkrite's of the world will all be like, yes, you see, America has lost its great battle. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I agree. There's nothing that we can say that's going to make sense to me as we talk about this. I don't get it. I understand that these guys are class acts, but other than that, why? I don't know. I really don't get it, why we would trade the one guy, who is not important, by the way, for 5 very important assets.
Oh, that reminds me. We've got a letter here written by one of the guys that served with him.
Take it away.
And it says, we here at OP Mest, Pakatwa Province, Afghanistan, it was a small outpost where B Company, one of 501...
first of the 501st.
501st Infantry Airborne ran operations out of. Just an infantry platoon and ANA counterparts there. The place was an Afghan graveyard. Bergdahl had been acting a little strange, telling people he wanted to walk the earth, and kept a little journey talking about how he was meant for better things. No one thought anything about it. He was a little out there. But next morning, he's gone. We search everywhere, and we can't find him. He's left his weapon, his kit, and other sensitive items. He only took some water, a compass, and a knife. We find some Afghan kids shortly after who saw an American walking north asking where the Taliban are. We get hits on our voice interceptor that Taliban has him, and we were close. We come to realize the kid deserted his post, snuck out of camp, and sought out Taliban to join them. We were in a defensive position at Opmest, where your focus is to keep people out. We knew where the blind spots were to slip out, and that's what he did. It was supposed to be a 4-day mission, but turned into several months of active searching. Everyone was spun up to find this guy. News outlets were all over the country were putting out false information. It was hard to see, especially when we knew the truth about what happened, and we lost good men trying to find him. PFC Matthew Michael Martinek, Staff Sergeant Robert Curtis, SSG Clayton Bowman, PFC Morris Walker, SSG Michael Murphy, Second Lieutenant Daryl Andrews were all KIA from our unit who died looking for Bergdahl. Many others from various units were wounded or killed while actively looking for Bergdahl. Fighting increased. IEDs and enemy ambushes increased. The Taliban knew that we were looking for him in high numbers, and our movements were predictable because of Bergdahl. More men were out in danger, and more attacks on friendly camps and positions were conducted while we were out looking for him. His actions impacted the region more than anyone wants to admit. There is also no way to know what he told the Taliban. Our movements, locations, tactics, weak points on vehicles, and other things for the enemy to exploit are just a few possibilities that the government knows full well that he has deserted. It looks bad, and it's a good propaganda piece for the Taliban. They refuse to acknowledge it. Hell, they even promoted him to sergeant, which makes me sick. I feel for his family who only wanted their son back and or brother back. But they don't know the truth or refuse to acknowledge it as well. What he did affected his family and his whole town back home who don't know the truth. Either way, what matters is that good men died because of him. He has been lying on all of those Taliban videos about everything since his capture. If he ever returns, he should be tried under the UCMJ for being a deserter and judged for what he did. Bergdahl is not a hero. He is not a soldier or an infantryman. He failed his brothers. Now, sons and daughters are growing up without their fathers who died for him, and he will have to face the truth someday.
Yeah.
That's what was written by one of the guys that was right there in his own fob.
Yeah.
Hello?
And that's a perfect point. I mean, the guy needs to be court-martialed, and I'm curious if that's action that will be taken. Especially now that there's all of the light that he is a deserter and dissension, is his thing. And I don't know, I just think court-martial is a good, logical next step. But as we know, there's not a whole lot of logic in the story. So, I don't know. And the fact, that so many people got injured and killed, that it's terrible. And, this guy, I don't know, I'm just so caught up with it.
If he did give information about our vehicles and troop movements and stuff like that, he's a traitor and he should be judged so.
Yeah, he's a defector.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Another Benedict Arnold.
Yes.
And there's, just think too, that maybe there's other soldiers down the line in a few years that are feeling a little washy about the service or something, and they think of this, oh, well, so-and-so walked off and he, whatever, he became famous, he made it. I'm going to get out of here and go hang out with these Taliban guys for a couple days, and it's just, it starts the thought process, there's so many what ifs here.
It sounds like for people who may be on the edge that they could gain some fame, that this might be one way that they could do it.
Yeah, and it's twisted, no doubt about it. But yeah, if that's how somebody can get out there, get known, and especially, I don't know, young people, some of these young soldiers, that maybe they're not comfortable with what's going on, and that's going to be their outlet, It just opens up a whole new bag of snakes.
Crazy. All right, well, the show is drawing to a close here very quickly. Don't forget that we do have some great supporters out there. There's Griffith Plumbing. There's Tactical Guns and Gear. We also have the great law offices of
Christopher Coleman.
Excellent. And we're hoping that Harley is going to stay with us. Any of you out there, go into the Harley-Davidson dealership. Let them know, hey, keep supporting the gun show.
Yeah.
We appreciate what you're doing, because I'm going to have to go over there and talk to them. And if I hear the support coming in and they hear it, there's a good chance they'll stay with us since they have a new general manager there. And it's important that this message stays out.
Right.
Otherwise, we're going to be coming back asking you to help support the show.
Yeah, this is the front lines, for here. This is the local fight for our rights. And, we keep it civil. We're on the radio, but we need your support. And, we hope that everybody out there is, what's the word here? Supportive, and hopefully we ignite the fire in somebody else's brain to become passionate about this stuff. You never know.
That's right. And go on our Facebook page, On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. I know I'm going to have to change up the name here a little bit because we're going to have to add Kanani into it. But you can go in there, talk to us, leave messages, send messages.
Comment on
posts.
the show notes.
Yeah, and exactly. Make comments.
Yeah, get active, get involved. There are a lot, you're going to get questions from us or be able to ask them directly to us, and I think that'd be a good thing. Maybe even work yourself on to joining us one day on the show.
Yep.
Who knows?
And don't forget, you can always come down to Tactical and see us most days of the week. So we're always there. Kanani's there a lot too. So we'll see you there.
Yes, it's true. So real quick, anything going on with Classic you want to say? Mondays, Tuesdays?
Yeah, Classic has been really fun lately. This last week we did rifles and all the girls were very excited. In fact, one of them, Erin, when we decided to take our picture, the first thing she said when we asked to choose her rifle was, "Woo, I'm getting the AK." And I saw her post on her Facebook that, like me, she feels like a badass when she shoots. So.
Well, there you have it. Feel like a badass when you shoot. Join Classic. All right, guys, thank you much. We'll be back next weekend on The Firing Line.